What's up, y'all? Welcome to the TEEJCAST. We're here with another episode featuring Kafele.
Yay.
How's it going, Kafele?
It's going great, brother.
Man, he is an awesome multi-instrumentalist, musician, performer, producer, amongst other things. So we'll get into talking about some of those today.
Okay.
For sure. I know the instruments I know you play are saxophone, trumpet. I'm sure you play some keys.
Yeah, sax and trumpet are the main, but definitely I wouldn't call myself a keyboard player, but I know how to, produce and I know basic chord structure,
Nice. Yeah, that's how I feel on keys too. Like I can make my way around it to write a song and to understand songs, but I don't usually get on the stage performing on keys.
Yeah, I have a couple times. Usually if it's my own songs, I'm good on it, but if it's somebody else's, then hit or miss,
Yeah, for me, if it's a jam session and it's a really loose vibe, I'll be like, yeah, I'll get on bass, I'll get on keys, you know. That's about it though. But you could get on the trumpet, saxophone.
Yeah, I did mess with trombone for a little while, but I decided not to, not to really deal with it too much,
Trombone's a cool instrument.
It is cool though, yeah.
I think it's underrated. It's one of my favorite actually horns.
Yeah, I have one in my closet, and every now and then I'll use it to do some section stuff, just mostly long tones though, just because I like the sound,
Yeah, the omniture must be so different than, closer to trumpet, but just the fact you go between sax and trumpet is already so different.
Yeah, it is very, very different, the omniture part especially, yeah.
Nice. What's the main difference you find between playing, because you used to play trumpet a lot more when I first met you, busking on the trains and performing, but it was really within during COVID, 2020, you switched over to saxophone, right?
Yeah, I switched initially because I was having some embouchure issues on trumpet. Trumpet is a lot of trumpet players have trouble with embouchure at some point in their in their career, and saxophone is something that I always liked. I love the sound of it, and I always wanted to try it. And it just so happened that COVID presented the best opportunity for me to actually, switch over, because all my gigs got canceled. I had nothing but free time. So I'm like, you know what? Now is the perfect time to just dig into it and just learn it a little bit,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, trumpet, I always found it as one of the most demanding instruments.
I would say yes, especially in terms of the, even when you initially start, you're going to sound like trash for a long time before things come together for you to have a decent sound, It's just the nature of the instrument, what it calls for, it's that way for most people,
Yeah, especially when I was in college and you see the big band trumpet players, I see them as athletes. You really got to put the hours in every day practicing a certain range or you're going to lose it.
That's true. That the saying goes, if you miss one day of practice, you'll feel it. If you miss 2 days, everyone else will feel it. On trumpet, that is,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, our producer here, Pete, is also a trumpet player. Played for years, but he played jazz too, but also I knew him on the classical side.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, my chops aren't quite up to date right now, but I'm trying to get back into it.
Yeah, I studied in school, so I definitely played a lot of classical music too back in the day, and I like a lot of it, especially the more modern stuff though. Yeah. The older stuff is cool, but the modern stuff is just more colorful and I love Shostakovich. Yes, Shostakovich, Debussy also, my favorites. Yeah.
Wow, I gotta check out some Debussy trumpet stuff. What?
Well, just in general, the music. Yeah, but he does have some trumpet stuff. He has some stuff. There's one, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's called something like Fanfare for a False King. It was something like that. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, but saxophone, what I always thought is compared to trumpet is that it you can play it for longer and have more endurance on it. It doesn't wear you out as much.
I would say that's generally true. However, with any instrument, if you play it for extended periods, you're gonna feel it. I would just say that the trumpet, you feel it in just on a more physical way. Just, I don't know, something about it. I feel like with me, part of the reason why my embouchure suffered so much is because I was using too much pressure. That can happen on the saxophone too, but the trumpet is just metal pushing against your lips. So if you do it too long, you're gonna feel it,
For sure.
Yeah.
Nice, man. So what's is trumpet, your first instrument?
It is. Yeah. In my family, we all were forced to play instruments. My dad is a disciplinarian. So I wanted to play saxophone first, but my brother picked it and I wanted to be different. So trumpet was my next choice. Yeah.
Nice. So how old were you when you picked it up?
I think I was 9, about 9 years old. Yeah, 9 or maybe 10, somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Nice. In Louisiana.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's dope. So did you have any jazz influences playing?
100%, man. Just in general, from as far back as I can remember, my dad, he's a jazz lover, so he had like a massive record collection, still does, but like unfortunately my mom made him put some of them outside, so they got messed up. But long story short, like I've been exposed to jazz since I was very, very young. I mean, even some heavy, heavy jazz music. And so by the time I would say I got to middle school is when I really developed an interest in it, outside of just listening to my dad play it. And from there, that's all she wrote. I used to go to his collection all the time looking for stuff. Miles Davis was my first big influence, yeah.
Classic Miles Davis stuff, man. He's one of my favorite musicians, let alone just
Absolutely.
trumpet players.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
One thing I really love about Miles is that he experimented with all these different sounds, like how he used the wah with the trumpet and all these these effects like distortion and stuff, trying to sound like a guitar, like Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
Like he took it all these different places,
Yeah, he did. He definitely was very experimental with the stuff he was doing. Even the early stuff, he kind of was going against the grain of like what, even in terms of like the straight ahead jazz, what was considered to be the popular stuff. He was going against it and doing all types of stuff. One of my favorite records is one he did. It's like a fusion with classical music, Sketches of Spain.
That's a good one.
Oh, that record is so good. That one kind of blew, Bitches Brew, all those joints. Yeah,
those are all dope, and those are all like pretty close together too. Like,
yeah. That's amazing because they're so different. They're all so different, but at the same time, they're all he has his signature sound, I would say, but at the end of the day, they're all very different. Yeah.
And he's another one too. Like he took the time to highlight other people.
Yeah,
like a lot of the eras of his music are defined by the people he surrounded himself with, and who they were drawing influences from.
Right.
Which is cool. But and so you playing trumpet and saxophone on the trains, busking. Like, have you seen a different response in how people react to like, oh, here's a saxophone guy, here's a trumpet guy? Like,
sometimes, but I would say overall, even people that know me and that if I haven't seen them for a while, they don't even realize it right away that I switched. Yeah. I mean, they're non-musicians, of course.
Yeah.
So to some degree, yes, but overall, I would say for most people, not so much. But I would say that, I mean, saxophone is generally considered to be like a more, I mean, it's more popular, I think, than trumpet in terms of like the average listener. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, everyone knows the sexy sax man. They know the one song. Da, 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 da.
Oh yes, Careless Whispers.
Careless Whisper.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
George Michael.
That has to be the most requested
Isn't
saxophone
that
ever.
Kenny G, though? I think it's Kenny G on sax.
Oh, I don't know who's playing sax on that song.
think it is.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to check that out. Yeah.
Everyone knows Kenny G, man. You got to. Have you ever been tempted to cover one of his songs?
No, but Kenny G gets a lot of hate. I mean, I feel like I understand where the hate comes from to some degree, but at the end of the day, I feel he's a beast on saxophone, man, and he has a beautiful sound.
Sure.
It's just that in the jazz community, it can be kind of strict in terms of what they consider to be jazz. I don't think what he's doing is necessarily jazz. If he called it something else, then they might not have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's more pop. But
yeah, exactly.
He started with jazz.
He did, yeah.
Kind of like on some Glasper.
Yeah, and he's a master at what he does. And honestly, I mean, I like musicians who step outside of the traditional, the standards, and experiment with other sounds and other styles. To me, I look at that as a plus. I mean, I feel like if you keep like even just look at where jazz came from, man. It was so experimental when it first came about, and now it's like there's a standard, and this is now jazz. Whereas back in the day, it was being created in the moment. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I really appreciate musicians who push the envelope of genre and style and all that stuff,
Yeah, for sure. I always felt that about jazz. It's more of like an energy and an approach than it is a genre.
Right.
Because even then in Louisiana and New Orleans, like it was a melting pot of just ideas coming together. And they're like, how can we express ourselves to the fullest, based off the tools we have?
Right.
So I feel like hip hop carries that now.
100%
R&B
does.
carries
Yeah.
that now.
Yes.
Even like house and a lot of experimental stuff carries that in its own way, that same energy of, just raw expression.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the reason why. I mean, I feel like I don't necessarily do a lot of straight ahead jazz anymore, but I definitely play with a lot of different musicians across a bunch of different genres, and it's for that reason. Like having a foundation in jazz really allowed me to like just be expressive with myself in terms of like listening to something and helping to like create the music along with whatever it is that's going on, no matter what the style or genre is. You know what I'm saying? I feel like because I studied jazz a lot, it helps me to do that when I play with people, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just like a lifestyle too. I see jazz like, I sometimes when I teach lessons or a class or even this podcast, like we're freestyling. This is improvising a solo, in jazz. We're just doing that on an instrument,
right.
So
yeah, absolutely, same thing. Yeah, and I definitely felt that way about hip hop when I first started hearing some, especially like a lot of the East Coast stuff, like from the '90s. Oh man, to me, especially, I mean, a lot of those producers were sampling jazz, so that played into it. But even just their whole style of delivery to me is like, it's just like freestyling, like you said, and that's the same thing that you find in jazz, you know.
Right, the cadence, the flow, all of that, man, is so relevant.
Yeah.
Rakim, I was watching the Hip Hop Evolution documentary. Rakim said he based his flow on like Coltrane.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I didn't know that about him, but I'm not surprised though. And even Nas, like his pops,
his dad's
trumpet player. Yeah, I used to see that cat all the time back in the day.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. There used to be a place called Saint Nick's Pub. It burned down. I want to say they were shooting a movie there. This was years ago.
It's Harlem, right?
Yeah, in Harlem. But I used to go there when I first moved to New York. But it was like a really nice. I mean, it was a hole in the wall spot, but all of the heavy hitters came through, bro. And a lot of people have local people have blown up from there. You know what I'm saying? Went on to go do great things.
Nice.
Well, yeah, I used to see Nas's pops in there all the time, clowning and like playing and stuff. Yeah, it was cool.
Wow,
Yeah,
playing piece of trumpet. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's on he's on Illmatic. He's on one song on it.
Yeah.
That's dope. And I had a friend who was telling me it's like, the lineage of, just jazz to hip hop. Like that's a straight up example of how he passed the torch down to your own son.
Right.
He's doing his own thing with it.
Yeah, and he took it to a whole different, in a whole different era. I mean, direction. You know, I love Nas's flow. I feel like he's one of the greatest of all time. I think. You know.
Yeah. With the storytelling.
Absolutely, that man. I mean, when you hear his songs, well, for me anyway, it's like I can see everything that's happening. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I like about music and art in general. How it can really. Artists who are good at creating that space of helping the listener or the viewer visualize. To me, that's it's like magic almost.
It is magic, man. I see it as magic. The vibrations, and how it can change someone's whole mood.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's
that's
just
true.
Like I tell my students, musician and magician are just they sound very similar
for a reason,
and they are very similar.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that, oh man, this really moved me, bro. I was playing a gig one time, and this guy came up afterwards. He was like, "Yo," he was like, "I'm so glad I came out tonight." He's like, "My pops just died." Oh, it was so heavy, bro. And he was like, in the moments that you were playing, it was able to like get me out of that negative headspace for a while. So I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Just stuff like that. You never know what kind of impact. And even I busk a lot on the trains. So there you come across people who are in all types of moods and all type, feel all types of ways. And I like being being a light down there, like just using the music as a tool to spread positive vibes. And I feel like it's one of the things I like about it is that like you can help lift people up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. It has the possible. It can lift people up greatly. For sure. Like busking reminds me. I was playing on the trains of Bumbly recently.
Oh yeah.
Doing some Christmas songs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny how on the same train, like we're playing, and this one lady we passed, she gives the donation, she gives us like $1, and she's like, "Guys, it was really good, but it was just too loud.
Right.
Like just lower next time." I'm like, "Okay, thanks."
Right.
I keep walking down, and then later on the same train, another lady was like, "Guys, that was awesome. You made my day. Thank you." And I was like, if I listened to the first lady and played softer, she wouldn't be able to hear it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like I'll just keep doing what we're doing. But at least it, even though she wanted to give a comment, like it didn't ruin her day.
Right.
It only has the
absolutely,
possibility it can bring people up, and it's not gonna, I do feel bad sometimes when you're playing on the train, you see some people sleeping. We're just like, oh man.
Yeah, but even with that, man, sometimes they wake up snapping their fingers.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
and sometimes they have attitude, and sometimes neutral. So
Yeah.
you never know.
For sure. It's a mixed bag. As long as you have that good intention, man.
Yeah, I feel like that's the most important part. Yeah.
For sure. So being a, mostly live performer and, musician, like what's your approach like with your productions and in the studio and writing songs?
Well, I mean, I feel like as a producer, somehow my personality just comes out naturally in the music, even sometimes when I don't necessarily want it to. Like what I mean is that, I'm naturally very chill, relaxed by nature, and somehow that type of vibe comes out on most of the stuff that I do. Sometimes I do want to push it, I'll just have the inspiration to make something that does not necessarily fit in that classification. But even then, I find that when I want to do that, it's best for me to collaborate with other people who naturally are just more upbeat and have that type of flow with their stuff. Nice. But I treat production like a flow, pretty much. Like when I sit down, like back in the day, I used to and I still do from time to time, I'll be inspired by some sort of creative idea, like a phrase or a line or like a groove or whatever. And I'll sit down with, at my gear with that in mind and trying to bring that out. Now it's just more about mood and how I'm feeling in the moment. And I'll sit down and I'll have like a general mood in mind, and I'll just start something, and then I'll end up crafting it until it turns into something that, something that I like.
Nice. Yeah, I hear a lot of your influences on like your original stuff, including like Sade and like.
Absolutely, Sade is my favorite, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
What are some other like favorites?
Well, I mean, I like Sade. I like I would say Freddie Hubbard is probably my favorite trumpet player. A lot of Coltrane. But then I have I grew up like I was in high school like in the 90s, and so like I was into a lot of hip hop, especially like Tribe Called Quest, Diggable Planets. Nas, as I just mentioned, and also the school I went to, the kids were listening to a lot of like Nirvana and like Chili Peppers, so I feel like all of that stuff sort of sank in to a degree.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think of all the different music I was listening to when I first started, and how that just influences you forever,
Yeah, it does, yeah.
It comes out in ways you don't even remember sometimes, like, but it shines its light through.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
For sure. I even hear a lot of, like, Afrobeat and house stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely a lot of that influence, but, that didn't come until later. I wasn't even exposed to, like, Afrobeat or house. Growing up in Louisiana, those types of music are just not popular down there. And actually, the house music that I did hear when I was there, I didn't really vibe with it because it was mostly like the more commercial stuff. But in my early 20s, I moved to Chicago, and there I learned a lot about house music, and there were an Afrobeat too. And I mean, just music from different cultures, not necessarily just Afrobeat, but like all across Africa, and like a lot of other types of music that I just wasn't exposed to too much in Louisiana, So that definitely impacted me as well,
Right, there's the whole spectrum. There's like things you get in Louisiana, like some authentic jazz, some New Orleans jazz.
Yeah, you can get a lot of.
know?
I mean, there's great music down there. Don't get it twisted. But I'm just saying that they have their own lane. There's great jazz down there. There's also Zydeco.
I don't even know what that is. What?
Yeah, it's like their own. I don't know how to explain Zydeco, man.
You heard that? Yeah. What?
But it's kind of blues oriented, but definitely with a Louisiana twist.
Kind of like upbeat.
Yeah, it's upbeat. They play washboards and accordions and stuff like that sometimes, and like, yeah, it's super cool, man. But when I moved to Chicago, how I even got into house music, man, I used to hang out with some DJs that I met, and what happened was a lot of them spin house and other styles. And this one guy, he asked me one time, he was like, "Yo, I have this new residency coming up." He was like, "Why don't you come and play along with me?" And in my mind, I'm like, that sounds like a dumb idea, but because I didn't know what I was gonna do, I had never done it. But when I got there, bro, it was like very eye opening for me, one of the best experiences. Because even the stuff that he selected for me to play over, he thought about it, and the stuff, it just meshed very well. You know what I'm saying? And put it this way, man, by the time I left Chicago, I had more gigs with DJs than I did with bands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So it'd just be like, were you playing the whole time, or do you like allot you a solo to do? How was that?
It was very fluid, man. He would pretty much, he had like different styles of stuff that he was playing, but some of the stuff was more, I would chill mostly, and then I'll play in sections where I feel like there were certain hits or something that it felt appropriate, and some of the tracks were more spacey and free, so I could just do whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So it was cool. It was cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I feel like it's a more common collaboration with the DJ is like a horn is one of the most common. It's either horn or like drums.
Yeah, I usually see
Sometimes
either one
I
or
get
the
that.
other. Yeah, but like I said, when I was growing up, I had never heard of that, so it was kind of foreign to me when I moved to Chicago. And another good thing that came out of it though was it actually what happened was I ended up picking up a regular gig in Chicago, playing at this spot called Quattro with a DJ every week, and he brought in a guest DJ from overseas, a guy named Andy Compton, and Andy's a producer also. And maybe a year later, Andy sent me a song, house music stuff, and he wanted me to put horns on it. But what I did was I took it. I wrote a song to it and sang on it and put the horns on it and sent it back. And then he ended up putting it out. And he has, a decent following, underground, but very decent following, especially in South Africa. And so it opened up a whole new area for me to like collaborate with the artist and like listen to their music and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Sounds good. We should listen to one of your songs now. Let's
Okay.
get into that.
Yeah. But can you put on the
Kafele.
that one, the rough, put it on that rough gum mix.
Top one?
Yeah, that's my favorite mix. Yeah.
You guys be having different mixes.
They do, yeah.
What's up with that?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like
It's a remix. No, it's a remix.
yes, this one's a remix. But sometimes even one DJ will do a different mix.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's producer shit. It's like how painters do a bunch of different versions of the same scene. Producers like changing the way it should. Yeah, it's just like
Sometimes like a live mix or
musicians do like covers and shit. Like producers do remixes. So like with electronic music, that shit happens a lot.
Yeah, it happens a lot, especially too. In terms of like the way the house music scene works is like a DJ will do a song and then reach out to a bunch of other DJs to do remixes. I mean, because it helps them to expand their reach, their following, whatever.
they'll play it at their gigs and more people have heard it.
Yeah. All of these songs are like 6 minutes or whatever. They do that in house, man. So dancing vibes.
Is this South African guy?
Yeah, this is one of Andy's from the UK, but they have followers in South Africa. Rock has a huge following out there, bro. This song really put me on the map out there, man. This one, and then I did one with Ralph after this that did pretty well. So this was some years ago, man. Yeah. He didn't even know. I mean, at the time, I wasn't even. It was was like my first, not my first song I ever recorded singing, but like one of them. You know what I'm saying? It took me a while to actually start recording myself as a singer, because I was like mostly like writing for other people or writing and then having someone else sing it like that, you know. Yeah.
I start to panic every time you pass me by. Pass me by, baby. What kind of magic?
I haven't heard this in so long, man.
Do you work when you come near?
Is that right?
Just like an illusion.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
My whole world just disappears.
Right.
'Cause baby, you take me there, where it feels like I'm above the sky. 'Cause baby, you take me there, where it feels like I'm above the sky. Out of my mind, my mind,
Right.
I can't believe it. How you took me by surprise, girl. By surprise, baby. My body freezes when you look into my eyes, baby.
Yeah. Trumpet was summer music.
'Cause baby, you take me there, where it feels like I'm above the sky. Baby, you take me there, where it feels like I'm above the sky. The sky.
like this, even though it's so chill in South Africa, back in the day, they used to be going nuts over this, bro. Like, oh man, yeah. The energy out there is crazy, man. Seriously, yeah. It's one of my favorite places to ever perform, man. Oh, nice, man. all of a sudden, like I noticed one day on this is when Facebook was popular. I kept getting like 10, 15 friend requests from South Africa. Like,
was it Facebook or MySpace back then?
Facebook.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Facebook. Yeah. Yeah, I want to say it was Facebook, but it might have been on MySpace too. Yeah, I think I had both back then. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Back in 09, man, that was dope. Like hearing you scat on it and play the trumpet, like even how you did the harmonies, I could tell that, it was a similar vibe between the trumpet harmonies and then how you layered them on your vocals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I hear the Sade influence for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was like the first record, house record that I recorded, so it was definitely very, for me, I was pushing my own boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I commercially released something that had my vocals on it, and also even just the recording process was very different, bro.
Yeah, how'd you record it?
Well, I'm just saying in terms of like the style of it, and also the fact that it was the type of music I had been playing over it before, but it was like the really the first time that I actually worked on a production for it. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like even the horn arrangements, like you were saying, and the vocal arrangements and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you record it yourself and send it to them, or was
I
it
did,
at studio?
I recorded myself. Yeah.
It was like at home.
At home. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No one would be able to tell.
Right.
Sounds like,
Yeah, with the technology, man, even back then it was you can get very decent sound from it, from gear that doesn't cost that much,
Mm-hmm. So when you sent him this track, I mean, it's 9 minutes long. It's a whole vibe. Like, was it one thing all the way through, or was it little sections and then they produced it up? Like,
well, it was mostly all the way through because the beat. The way it worked is like he sent me a beat. And, like I was saying, he was asking for horns for it, but I decided to just record. So I recorded to the full length. I left it. I broke it up into sections. But I'm not going to say, sometimes whoever's doing the production, they will go in and make some edits in terms of arrangement, stuff like that too,
Nice. Because, for me, it just kind of sounds like one vocal take. You're leaving some space, but it's like a whole arrangement you wrote for 9 minutes. That's
right.
That's a whole thing, man. Damn. That's awesome.
Yeah, bro. Thanks,
so, man. Afrobeat, this was your first house project.
House, yes. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Have you had any other house ones since? Do you?
I worked with quite a few other producers. Usually for the house music stuff, the way it worked, because house wasn't necessarily my main genre, I would collaborate with producers who specialized in house, and then I would also do my own mixes to them. Sometimes the mixes I would do would be house. Sometimes they would be like not quite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even the idea of doing house to me, like if you had asked me like before I went to Chicago, I probably would have told you I'm never ever doing a house music record, just because to me, at first when I was listening to it, it was a little monotonous, and like I was saying, it was mostly commercial stuff that wasn't soulful. But when I moved to Chicago and got exposed to it more, I saw like how soulful and just dope it could be. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But still, I kind of don't necessarily like to even think about a genre when I'm writing a song. I like to think about feeling and mood and what I want to say. So if I'm doing a house song, usually I'll collaborate with somebody who works in that genre, as their main thing. Yeah.
For sure. One thing I find too is that like when you meet people who just love a genre and you meet a community and you go to shows, you're playing shows, that's when you really start to love it because you're around this energy of people who love it. It's kind of like if someone wants to get into jazz and they just throw on a random Coltrane album, especially like a live album, it might not be the best way to get into it.
I agree. The energy definitely plays a role, especially in jazz and in house music.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying, you know, there's a lot of people in South Africa who love this type of music, and they just their vibe and the energy when they listen to it. They're dancers, and it's just, oh man, you have to experience it, bro. Like it's
Yeah.
really incredible, you know.
For sure, it's a
Yeah.
different thing. And, you know, they're gonna have their own culture and their own lineage of, like, you know, how it first got there. You know, this genre and how it started building traction there. You know, down to, you know, going to a show and hearing classic songs. It's kind of like when I was in the Bahamas earlier last year, and they were playing some. We were at a bar and they were playing some like classic Bahamian songs and everyone knew it. Everyone was like,
Right.
yeah, it's doing all the lyrics. It was like the Bahamas like national anthem or something, and we didn't know it. We didn't know it at all, but.
Right.
Just watching their joy listening to it, and like you could tell they've heard it since they were kids, you know, was enough to make me be like, this bumps, I love it, you know.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they definitely schooled me a little bit on the history of it. And actually, the guy who produced that song, his name is Ralph Gum. He was kind of a part of the early history of it. Him and his crew. They a couple of guys from Europe came down and started playing stuff that, you know, the local people got into, and then they took it and they some of them created like house, and some of them created other types of music that were like spinoffs. They have a music called I think it's called Kwaito or something like that. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. That's like house music, but a little bit slower and exclusively South African stuff. And it's some of it's dope, bro. Yeah. So
That's cool. Yeah, I was surprised to learn how much they like house in the UK, like how it's like more mainstream pop.
yeah, it's huge out there, man. Yeah.
That's really cool. For sure. I mean, you go to every country and there's like just so many different like influences, and, you know, how long a genre's been there. Like it hasn't really been popular. Like I remember when we were in high school, Pete, like it's when EDM was getting way more traction, you know? Skrillex.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people. You know, and even all the subgenres of it in EDM and stuff like that. But then, you know, the UK has its own scene for that, like its own way.
Well, UK like started all the things that like the Skrillex shit and all the like modern EDM is like based on. So, like,
Yeah, they've always had like the UK and other parts of Europe too. They've gravitated towards house. I mean, and you know, other styles of music too. I feel like a lot of it has to do with radio though, bro.
Yeah.
What radio plays, because like even in my own experience, you know, the song you just played and some other songs that I put out. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily think of that as music that young people would listen to. You know what I'm saying? But because it was on the radio in South Africa, like a lot of the people who were listening to it, they were like, some of them were still in high school. You know what I'm saying? So it was the music they grew up with. It was played on the radio. And, you know, I would say, you know, that has a huge influence on what people listen to, bro. Because, like, think about it. I mean, you know, through history, like, the masses of people in a specific location tend to listen to the stuff that they play on the radio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're exposed to it, and it becomes, you know, they end up liking it, you know?
Right, for sure. Even today, I mean, I feel like there's songs that I'm like, I don't know how I know it, but it's a big song right now.
Right.
I'm thinking of the "Make Me Sweat."
Right.
Everyone knows that song.
That's also
now.
from South Africa, bro.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I don't know where she's from, but it's got that vibe for sure. But that's just like everyone knows the point. They're sick of it, but it's because it's on the radio. It's getting them spins.
You
see
get
it
hit
on
over the head with
TV.
it enough, and you even for me, even like there was some pop songs that I used to hate, bro.
Yeah.
But I've heard them and they got drilled into me so much, and it's like, oh, now okay, yeah, this isn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, and it makes the nostalgia of it. You're just like, oh, I remember I used to be a kid and this was playing everywhere. You know, I'm thinking some Katy Perry songs now or something.
Right.
Some old-
that early Katy Perry shit slaps.
Yeah. For sure, man. That's cool. Some kids in South Africa listen to this growing up. That's a pretty cultured bus ride to school. Or something.
Right.
Nice. What's up, y'all? This has been another episode of the TEEJCAST. We're here with Kafele. This has been a dope time just talking, hear about your musical influences. And, you know, I didn't know you played so much house. I didn't know you. I knew you played a lot of instruments, I mean, genres and all that stuff, man. So it's been cool to dissect it. I hope people check out your music and enjoy our jams. And, you know, come see us live sometime, man. Kafele's playing on the train all the time.
Yep.
You could follow him on Instagram at Kafele Music and see where he's playing next. Yeah, you got anything else you want to promote? Any upcoming projects or shows?
Well, I do have. I'm not sure when this is going to air. I have a show coming up on January 23rd at a restaurant in Harlem called 314. Also on the 24th, I'll be at the Edge in Harlem. And on February 2nd, I'm playing a really cool gig. It's part of it's like a date thing where like they're gonna have like a panelist for singles to talk about dating. And I ended up booking that gig from actually playing on the train. So it's on February 2nd. I don't remember the location, but if you follow me on Instagram,
Sour Mouse, right?
I don't remember where it is. Yeah, but I know I'm gonna be. You'll see. I have like even right now on my Instagram story, I'm plugging it. So if you check out my Instagram, you'll find it.
Nice, cool. Yeah, this will probably come out. Definitely come out after those gigs.
Right.
But yeah, they can follow you and find some more. And yeah, we play at the Edge. Well, he plays at the Edge pretty often. We play every couple months. We're there.
Right.
You know, they have pretty great music every Wednesday.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Bunch of dope artists. You know, how'd you first get connected with them at the Edge? The Trains?
Train also.
Wow.
Yeah. It was me and Aliki. We were performing together, and the sisters came up to us like, hey, we're gonna open a restaurant soon, and we want music there, and we want you guys to play.
Nice.
And so yeah, eventually we ended up
nice.
coming
Shout out
through.
Likey. Shout out the Edge Harlem.
Right.
Great food, man.
Oh, the food is killing. Yeah.
I gotta go. Like, I want to be there earlier in the day one time to try like their brunch.
Yeah, their brunch is amazing, bro.
I gotta try the
Yeah,
brunch, but
yeah.
I'm never in Harlem at that time.
Right.
but it's amazing. But their dinner, and you know, it's a great like bar. I always say that place reminds me of just like an old school jazz club. Like,
It does. It has that feel. It has that feel. It really does. Yeah. And honestly, bro, listen. Well, it's a long story. I know this is the outro, but you know, a lot of times with the reason why I even started playing on the train was because you know restaurants tend to. I mean, there's a lot of like crap gigs in New York, bro. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, why I started playing at the Edge is because I saw their sense of culture and they were trying to build some community.
Yeah.
So that's different, and it's a small restaurant, so they don't. Then you know. So I'm just saying that, you know, the vibe in there is amazing. The food is great. Come through.
Yeah, they definitely have that. You know, they have a select group of artists that they call, and even when they get new artists, I find like how Johnny got in there. It's because he knows people who are already playing there. You know,
Right.
like I think he subbed for me once, and then the next month he was doing his own thing.
Right.
You know, so it's a cool like network of musicians that they work with, and I guess you know a lot of it started with you. You know,
Yeah, I wasn't the first one, but definitely one of the first ones that you know.
Yeah, for sure. So you know, good music and vibes happening in New York. You know, definitely come support some live music. And all the artists we feature on this podcast, but Kafele is one you can see me playing with. You can see him doing some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I have an upcoming record. I know the name of it already, but it's not out. But it's dang, I know the name of it, but what is it? Can't think of it right now. But TJ is gonna be on it for sure. So it's gonna be a banger. Yeah.
Is that cover one we did? The Sade cover?
That's gonna be on it, and some other ones too. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Got a lot of music coming for y'all. This has been an episode of the TEEJCAST. Thanks for listening. Peace out.
Peace.